So we'll get to where the Bandits and Seals are, but we've made our way over to the big board.
Yes, we
It's Power
have.
Rankings
So
time.
these were our season beginning Power Rankings, which we unveiled last week,
Yep.
which, obviously after a couple games been played, had a better idea what was going on. Now it's time for week 2.
Yeah, we're going to just start at the very bottom, work our way up, and we're going to start with 13. We haven't discussed these yet, but I think we're both on the same page when it comes to the Riptide. They're in the 13th
Yeah,
spot.
they're in the 13th spot. Expansion team really struggled in week 1. Another big part of that now is Kieran McCardle after the late game misconduct with like 30 seconds to go, that cross-check, to see if he's going to sit out any games, which is going to impact that moving forward. Suspension, something that might be a theme as we head closer to the top. That's a tease for later.
Yeah, all right. Who do you have at 12?
12, I have Rochester up there right now.
I'm with you.
So we'll put them at 12. Similar performance, unfortunately, as New York in week. I mean, Rochester had a little bit more of a challenge at going up against the Swarm, losing 14-4 in that game. But still, expansion teams 12-13 to start things off.
All right, so I'm going to move up here, and in 11, I have Vancouver. Does that work for you?
That jives with me. All right, we're still on the same page.
You got Vancouver there, of course, didn't play last week, lost in the opener to Calgary. And then I'm going to go ahead and put Philly in the 10th spot, keep them there, just because, once again, they haven't had a chance to play yet.
So
we're not sure what we're going to get with the Wings yet, so we're going to just move on past them until they play.
Yeah, this 4 almost feels like a tier at this point. You see this a little bit of a switch there of what they looked like, I guess, in their first week for the teams that did play. Now let's get to number 9, Travis.
Who
what do you think?
have? I've got Halifax there at 9.
Really?
They won.
Really?
They won, but we don't.
Not moving at all.
We obviously don't think much about the Riptide this year.
You're going to have teams that lost ahead of Halifax.
Yeah, because I need to see more from Halifax against different competition.
So
I thought they were feeling good at home. I put them there at 9.
I disagree completely.
Who do you have
think
at 9?
Toronto deserves to be there. They only scored 8 goals in the season opener.
They were my 8 team, so I'll give you Toronto
Wow.
at 9.
Well, good for me.
I'll give you Toronto at 9 because you know what? The New England came in, they beat them at home. Toronto's a team that should have success at home, and they did.
Right, that's sort of what I was thinking along those lines. And Halifax, who I thought looked better than Toronto did, I guess. And then they had a different opponent, things like that. That's why I had Halifax at 8. You good with that?
I'm good with Halifax at 8.
Halifax at 8.
Flip-flop those,
We're good with there. Halifax, obviously they're opening up their season, coming over from Rochester previous year. Branesh played really well, and I think this might be the year where he meshes with them. Came over midway through last year, and now probably be able to play with those guys for a little bit longer. He played really well in the first game, so I think that might be a telltale sign here.
Also with Halifax, don't forget about goalie Warren Hill. 40 saves on 44 shots. I mean, special performance. They went out 8-0, but part of the reason was him being demoralizing for that New York offense because he was making kick saves, keeping things out, and I think that really did a number on New York's confidence, a team that I think really could have used a goal early to kind of get that one off the backs, and it kind of went downhill pretty quick. So he was good for Halifax as well.
So Halifax moves up from 9 to 8.
Yeah. So we're now at 7. I have Colorado sitting at 7. What do you think about Colorado?
Interesting. I was high on Colorado in week 1. I mean, honestly, I'm the one who made the rankings in week 1, in case you guys are wondering. So I know you're seeing what Travis has to think about them. I thought Colorado played well enough in week 1 against Saskatchewan to sort of warrant that ranking. But you have them a little bit lower, probably from what you thought about them at the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah, they played Saskatchewan well, but you're at home, and I think we expect that from them in Denver.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
You nudged on the other one, so I will put Colorado here in the 7th spot.
All right.
And
so who do you have at 6?
Then in that case, so I had, instead of Colorado at 7, I had San Diego, the Seals.
Okay.
So would you be willing to put them at 6?
I have San Diego at 6.
Okay. All right.
So you move them down a little bit. They didn't win their opener, but they're playing in Buffalo in their opener. That's a tough matchup. The interesting thing this year that's a little different from past years, that's the only matchup between the Seals and Bandits this year. So that's the only taste they could get. 2 teams that I don't know if we would be terribly surprised if they met at some point in the playoffs.
Right. I do sort of like, now that I look at this, I thought San Diego looked better than Colorado now that I think about it. And San Diego, no Austin Stotts. Dan Dawson's gone. But bringing Wes Berg into that lineup big, having Greer back in the league after being out of it, both those guys looked really good.
They did.
And I think that they did a good job of sort of year one obviously is an expansion. They were outstanding. Year two, things had changed a little bit with the expansion draft, losing Dan Dawson, no Stotts for a little while, but having Westberg and Greer in there gives them talent, and I think that's important. And year two, trying to probably live up to those expectations from year one.
All right, so now we're on to our top 5. At number 5, I have the Black Wolves.
Yes,
right here,
as do I. All right, yes, that's a good choice for New England.
Great win in game 1.
Nice move from them up to 8-5.
Yeah, they go to Toronto. You beat the Rock, and you have to be feeling really good about that. They basically were leading kind of wire to wire. They took the Rock's best shot, and they were able to come away with a win.
And I think something to look for from New England this year is consistency. Last year, if you guys recall, they were very Jekyll and Hyde. One week they looked great, the next they wouldn't look so good. But I think important for them is seeing Callum Crawford and Joey Rez playing together and playing well. Because remember, when Callum got suspended last year, they brought in Joe Resiteras because they thought they had a chance to make a run. Those two never really got a chance to really play together, and I think seeing them play well at the start is really good for them. Andrew Q, the rookie, also had a nice day. So also, that's something, that's some talent.
Hashtag Davey season. Davey Emelo, 1 assist in game 1.
And other things in the box score that you don't see.
So here at number 4, the big move for me, and I don't know if you're going to agree, I have Calgary dropping down to number 4, looking at what they're looking at with Dane Dobie now facing a 6-game suspension. I know they looked good, but without Dane Dobie, are they the top team in the NLL right now?
I think that they have a talented enough roster where they can be mainly because of guys like Christian Del Bianco, who I think it may be at the point of his career where he has taken another step up at following that run in the finals last year where he was playing his best lacrosse, and he still did that. He had a career-high saves in week 1. 63 saves. He never has had that many saves in his life in the NLL. So I think that they have a good enough offense as a team.
But are they?
Curtis
but when
Dixon.
you look at the rest of these teams that are in this tier, are they the best right now? Not saying like,
I think they're
are they a good team?
I did drop them to 2, knowing the Dane Dobie news in my rankings. I think that
you still think they're better than Georgia after what Georgia did to Rochester?
I think they're better than Saskatchewan.
Okay. Oh, so you have Georgia at number 1?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Teaser.
So let's
do you have Georgia
play
number
around
1
with
too?
this. I have Buffalo in number 1. Here's
you have
why.
Buffalo in number. Oh boy!
I really like what Buffalo did in their opener at home against San Diego, because you're in a tight game down the stretch, and Josh Byrne comes up with a stellar play with the game tied at 10. He does that little okey doke move, dives across, gives them the 11-10 lead. And my favorite part about what they did down the stretch is they just put the nail in the coffin in San Diego. That Seals team, I think, is really good. And I think of any of the wins that we've seen early on between 2 really good teams, this is the best win so far, is Buffalo beating San Diego. I thought that was the best game of the first 2 weeks of the season, and that's why I'm giving Buffalo the edge, because I like their talent. You can't disagree with me that you don't like their talent from last year, a team that went to the NLL Finals.
I mean, they've got a few different pieces than they did last year.
But you still have the goalie of the year. You still have an MVP candidate in Dane Smith. We've seen Josh Byrne now healthy after he missed a bunch of parts of last year.
Corey Small played well for them.
Another
piece for them with Sean Evans out that I think is going to have a big year is Chris Kluche.
Yeah, he had a good game in his
first game. A nice start, because I think he has a few times last year he was a healthy scratch, and I don't know if we're going to see that as much from Kluche this year.
And I like the transition spot / back end with guys like Gilray and Ian McKay.
You like them better than Georgia? You sure?
Right now, yeah. Because I think we learned more about Buffalo by beating San Diego than we've learned from Georgia beating Rochester.
But there was things we already knew about Georgia that we didn't have to learn.
But
there's some things we don't have to learn about Georgia.
But who was the team representing the East in the finals last year? It wasn't Georgia. It was Buffalo.
Well, it's this year.
I know,
but that Buffalo team had Sean Evans on it last year, don't forget. That's a big piece. That's a big difference.
Then, show me what you're doing this year.
Oh, boy, we don't know. Where we got the rush? We're getting yelled at to start adding our top 4.
I've got the rush.
I had Buffalo at 4, so.
I've got the rush at 3 right now.
Let's see. Okay, you got the rush staying at 3, which I had the rush at 3.
All right, let's keep them there. Where are we going to put?
What if we put rush at 4 and Calgary at 3?
Okay, I can do that. Let's do that.
That's a little compromise here. Yeah.
Rush down to 4.
I can't move Calgary that much. They have too talented, too much depth in that roster. A guy like Jesse King for Calgary is going to make a big difference through the season
Buffalo
this year.
and Georgia somewhere in our top 2. we'll put them in this order for now, but
Wow.
at this
Okay.
point, interchangeable, in my opinion, in the top 2.
I could say they're equally tied for first.
Okay.
If we can do that, we can't do that. Well, we could. Let's do. We can do whatever we want around here. So, let's do these two.
Right there.
Right there.
in the
They're
middle.
both tied for first. So that's how you're going to see them. Tied for first, and then everybody else after that. That's how we compromise.
Power rankings for week 2.